Ladies and gentlemen, first let me use this opportunity to welcome Dan Jarvis as a new co-chair of the Ukraine Defense Contact Group in this setting as well. Dan, our joint preparation and chairing of the meeting has been excellent. Thank you very much for that. And we agree, we want to continue and further expand the outstanding cooperation on chairing the Ukraine Defense Contact Group. Thank you to you, Mikhailo, for giving us a battlefield update from Ukraine, which was really impressive. A few weeks ago, we met in Ukraine, Mikhailo and me, and I was able to see with my own eyes how successfully you are reclaiming Ukrainian territory captured by Russia by using uncrewed systems, drones and uncrewed vehicles. Thank you for sharing your lessons learned on the battlefield with us. Our cooperation hasn't been just about support for a long time now. We are learning from you. Our countries' industries are learning from each other. We were very pleased that President Zelensky joined us for the UDCG meeting today. Once more, he made it very clear how important support is right now while you are having the momentum on your side, Mikhailo. We must not relent now. And finally, Mark, thank you as well for your involvement and your unwavering support. Clouds of smoke over an oil refinery today, or a burning oil terminal in St. Petersburg during the International Economic Forum a few weeks ago. They are emblematic of the current situation. They show how far removed Russia's apparatus of power is from reality. Moscow all but pretended that the fire in St. Petersburg had not happened. But images cannot be argued away. Just like the faltering of the Russian economy, the high prices for petrol and the lack of success on the front. Putin must accept that his consistently brutal war against Ukraine makes no sense. His persistent refusal to accept reality has massive consequences for Ukraine. Some nights, Putin deploys over 600 combat drones and dozens of rockets and cruise missiles. I have said it before, and I say it again very clearly. This is nothing but terror. Every night, innocent civilians are dying because of this. We cannot and we will not just stand by and watch this. This is why we will continue to support Ukraine in its effort to defend itself. It is necessary. And it is the right thing for the United States and the G7 nations to say that sanctions should be reinstated against Russian oil. Mikhailo, you can continue to count on us. Germany will continue to tailor its support to Ukraine's requirements. Our focus remains on air defense. We have delivered another IRIS-T system to Ukraine. Most recently, we also fast-tracked the delivery of IRIS-T, SLS and SLM guided missiles. Additionally, we will deliver a 3-digit number of air-to-air missiles from our own stocks. And we have agreed to provide $200 million for the procurement of additional PAC-3 guided missiles under the Jump Start program. This means we will co-fund the first delivery tranche. We want to take the lead and encourage other supporters. We are also continuing to support the ongoing Pearl program. We will make another $200 million available for that. And we are continuing our regular deliveries of drones and long-range ammunition. We are deliberately promoting cooperation between Ukrainian and German enterprises as part of our support for Ukraine. This applies in particular to the development and production of drones, but also to the building up medium and long-range capabilities. And we are using UDCG meetings to sign agreements to kickstart our projects. Today is no exception. A Ukrainian and a German company have agreed to manufacture uncrewed vehicles together. The required production capacities will be established in Germany. The vehicles, called Termit, will then be delivered to the Ukrainian armed forces. The fact that Russia is attacking civilians not only with drones but also with ballistic missiles is unfortunately a regular news item. Mikhailo and I have therefore signed another very important agreement today. It provides a framework for the joint development of new air defense system to counter those ballistic missiles. Our country's industries are already in consultation over this. Ladies and gentlemen, our message is clear. Ukraine can continue to rely on us. Mikhailo, we stand by you. Slava Ukraini, thank you very much.
Well, thank you, Boris. It's a privilege to be working with you, and it's an honor to be here today representing the United Kingdom. This week, we have again seen that Putin recognizes no limits. Civilians killed, even a cathedral bombed. A reminder that this group's purpose remains as urgent as ever. I'd like to thank all of those 47 nations from across the globe for the solidarity that they've shown today. What is pledged by UDCG members is having a direct impact on the battlefield. Ukraine's forces are fighting with determination and with momentum. And as the new UK Defence Secretary, I want to underline my total commitment to the Ukrainian people and their fight for freedom. After my appointment just a few days ago, my first international call was to Minister Fedorov. And I'm absolutely delighted that on the early hours of Sunday morning, our extraordinary Royal Marine Commandos seized a Russian Shadow Fleet vessel, dealing yet another blow to Putin's war machine. And through the UDCG with Boris, I intend to keep Ukraine strong enough to confront the Russian war machine, strong enough to secure a just and lasting peace. With Mikhailo, I have agreed that the UK will provide 150,000 Ukrainian-made drones, as well as more than 350 air defence missiles and radars, all of which will be delivered by the end of the year as part of a £750 million package funded by the sale of seized Russian assets through the ERA loan programme. I'm proud to announce also that the UK will assume command of the Multinational Force for Ukraine headquarters next month. Under the leadership of Major General Tom Bateman, the UK, France, alongside allies and partners, will prepare for the long-term regeneration of Ukraine's armed forces when a peace deal is agreed. This war was never only about the fate of one nation. Ukrainians are fighting for their own security, but also for Europe's, and they are also fighting for their own values and for Europe's. We will stand with them today, tomorrow, and for as long as it takes. Thank you.
Шановні колеги, перш за все хотів би подякувати.
Dear colleagues, first I would like to thank Secretary General and the Ministers of Defense. We've had today was a very important UDCG meeting, also visited by President Volodymyr Zelensky. It has been a very strong signal to all of our partners. Today is a symbolic day in more ways than one, which Boris has mentioned. The events happening in Moscow today definitely suggest that Ukraine is moving in the right direction and becoming stronger. Today, this entire meeting of the UDCG was held under kind of the slogan of the window of opportunity. Over the past months, we've done our homework. We've reached results in many domains of the war. So many of our partners today have spoken that have said that they see this window opportunity and they're prepared to continue to support and to increase the support for our country. One of the largest support for the Pearl packages has been announced today, something like $1 billion, which is probably the largest one, speaking of the announced commitments in the UDCG. Likewise, announced today was an assistance package for extended range artillery for 30 plus kilometers. We are still looking at the consequences and the sum ups, but it's going to be something like $500 million. There were also other announcements made today on the support of Ukrainian drones and Ukrainian missiles. Just the Netherlands alone today announced the assistance for cruise missiles for over 700 cruise missiles. We will understand the full consequences and the full implications only in a few hours, because really there were many different announcements made today. We already see that it's something to the tune of something like $4 billion, maybe more, because some countries have opened programs that they had announced before. We have not taken all of this into account. But we can say that for me personally, the difference of this now my third UDCG from all the previous UDCGs is that there is quality and focus to this assistance. We have three key priorities. This is the anti-ballistic program, the air defense program, and the long-range, extended-range artillery, and our drones, Ukrainian-made drones, Ukrainian-produced drones that help us deter the enemy, provides middle strike operations, and hit in the enemy's territory. Everyone who spoke today at the UDCG on supporting Ukraine and announced new packages, all of them have held to these three priorities. This, to me, also speaks to a change of quality in the support of our partners. Of course, there's still a long way for us to work on. Likewise, today we have signed a very important document on data sharing on the anti-ballistic program with Boris. This is exactly about the process that will help us together with our partners to create anti-ballistic capabilities. We did this in the presence of President Volodymyr Zelensky. He personally headed this process on creating an anti-ballistic program for our country together with our partners. We will be implementing it in historically brief, historically quick tempos. I would also like to separately thank our partners from Britain, from the UK. There has been another information that was voiced and announcement that was made on the ARA project, and the frozen Russian assets in the UK will be used towards Ukrainian drones. Something like there's an announcement of something like 150,000 Ukrainian drones. We really hope that these drones will be procured as quickly as possible from Ukrainian companies and will serve our country in achieving our vision and forcing the enemy's hand to adjust and lasting peace, to continue our middle strike operations, our deep strike operations, and to continue taking out the Russians who are trying to occupy our country. May has been a record in the sense of the territories we have managed to deoccupy. We now hold a positive balance over the enemy. We also have increased the price the enemy is paying in terms of casualties for every square kilometer. And we have shown some of these results today. We have spoken about some of these results today. And I would just like to say that today's UDCG meeting, again, was held under the slogan, under the sign of window of opportunity. And we see this very clear window of opportunity in the nearest months. We're working very hard on creating new windows of opportunity to force the enemy's hand towards a just and lasting peace. So thank you very much, dear partners. I thank all of the participants of the UDCG for supporting our country, and we continue to do our homework that we have declared, and we continue taking active steps every day.
Dear Michalo, dear Boris, dear Dan, welcome, by the way, also in this role. Good to have you on the team. It's great to have you all in Brussels today for this important meeting. Also important, I think, that President Zelensky was there at the start of the meeting, a clear sign of the importance he attaches to this, of course. Let me be brief, because a lot has already been said, and we might allow for a few questions. First of all, the window of opportunity. I think this is the key theme today. More support focused on Ukraine's priorities will help increase the pressure on Russia. And it will help for them to come, hopefully, to the table and finally now play ball in some meaningful negotiations. And therefore, end this terrible war. Let's do everything to make that happen. And secondly, let me just highlight a few commitments. You mentioned already a couple. Hundreds of millions of pearl from Germany, Netherlands, Latvia, Denmark, Lithuania, Norway, Luxembourg, Croatia, Sweden and Iceland. So that's 1/3 of the alliance. Plus from our partner Australia, important. Then indeed, really great what you are doing. The UK, 150,000 drones, 350 missiles. We have heard about air defense from Spain, more drones from the Netherlands and Germany, vehicles from Canada, and also more pledges to the Czech ammunition initiative, which is so important when it comes to long-range ammunition. And many more. Our time at the podium is finite, and we want to allow for a few questions, but that's what I just wanted to highlight in addition.
Thank you. Thank you. We have only time for 2 questions, as you said. Jessica Parker, BBC, would be the first one to ask.
I'd first like to ask a question to the UK Defence Secretary. Your predecessor quit, saying the UK's defence funding plans fell well short of what is required. Do you agree? Will you be fighting for more? And how are you going to pay for it, if so? And I'd just like to ask the German Defence Minister as well, Minister Pistorius, given the US announcement today about its review, can you update us what is going on with the US plans to withdraw 5,000 troops from Germany? Is it happening? When's it happening? What information can you give us?
So I have huge respect for my predecessor, who's a good friend and a neighbour of mine, and I pay tribute to his service as Defence Secretary. And it's been striking the number of people who've taken the opportunity to thank him for his work here today. My priority now is to make sure that our armed forces have the resources that they need to do a very difficult job of work that's being asked of them. I made reference in Parliament the other day about the nature of the threat that we face. The world is a very dangerous place. It's my job to make sure that we've got the resources to equip our armed forces to do the job that we ask of them. That is a responsibility that I take very seriously, not least because I have stood in their shoes myself. So I'm working around the clock with my colleagues across government to make sure that we can get the DIP completed, that we can get the resource that we need to make sure that our armed forces personnel get the resources that we need. That is an absolute priority for me, and I'm determined to make a success of it.
There was no concrete announcement of withdrawing troops or personnel from Germany or even Europe. What we have heard again this morning was an announcement of a review in the 6 months to come, and we discussed about that. And I think this is not a surprise either. It's about what I always underlined already last year in February. It's about a roadmap. It's about a synchronized way of doing it. So the most relevant issue is to avoid capability gaps caused by withdrawing something and not being able to substitute to compensate in the time being. So this is what we are talking about with our American allies. It's about having a roadmap. Withdrawing is okay. We know that they do more in the Indo-Pacific, and we know that we have to do more for our conventional deterrence and defense. But it takes some time, and it needs to acknowledge that we have all in Europe and even in the United States a challenge when it comes to the capacities of production of the defense industry in our countries. So even if we had the biggest amount of money, we could not achieve in just a couple of months or 1 year what others could withdraw. So this is about the discussion we are leading now. No concrete announcement for withdrawing anything in the months to come.
The third question, already last question, goes to Amira Barkush from United 24.
Amira Barkush, United 24. I want to ask Mr. Fedorov a question. I think I will say it in Ukrainian, if that's okay. В нещодавному інтерв'ю ви говорили про вікно можливостей.
In a recent interview, you discussed this window of opportunity that Ukraine will have in the battlefield over the next 6 months. Have you discussed this today in the meeting and with the partners? And in your opinion, do the partners understand the significance of this window? And have you mentioned to them what exactly it is that Ukraine needs to be given to hold this advantage? Yes, I would like to reiterate that the entire UDCG was held under the slogan of, window opportunity. And we discussed, we showed specific results, specific numbers in terms of middle strike operations, what's going on with deep strikes, what's going on in the battlefield. This is all based on data, and I'm sure that all our partners understand that it really is a window opportunity. And the money that has been announced, the resources that has been announced, needs to be allocated as quickly as possible for what is a priority for us. So it's very important that we have a sequence, sort of. At the first UDCG this year, we've shown a vision, a certain vision of what we will do, what the result will be if we get the help along these specific avenues. The partners took our word for it, trusted us, allocated the resources for those avenues, for those directions that we needed, that was set forth by us as the most relevant. Then there was a second UDCG. Today we're now in my third UDCG, and we can see progress taking place in the battlefield, in the sky, and over the territory of Russia. So I think it is evident that if we continue to show this positive trend and showing results, and we're saying that it's a window of opportunity, then clearly this needs to be taken seriously, and everything must be done for us to make use of this window of opportunity, which is why we discussed in quite extensive detail of our needs in the nearest future. It has been a fairly strong UDCG in terms of announcements. So we see in terms of the key priorities, there has been specific announcements of specific packages have been made. Everyone present at the UCG today understands and can specifically name why we need specifically those help in specifically those areas. In a closed format, we discussed some of our next actions, how we will continue taking the initiative from the enemy and beating the Russians in every technological cycle, and why we today need to invest into things that have not yet been discussed today, but what will be discussed in future, new types and kinds of drones, ballistics, etc. Also important today, there have been announcements on cruise missiles as well as counter cruise missiles and counter Shaheds and hundreds of missiles that have been announced today. So I hope that all the partners see and have a clear understanding that we have a window of opportunity that is present. We have to make use of it. And again, today and what's happening in Moscow has been a good signal, a good sign of us moving in the right direction, and the things we're saying are actually taking place.
Thank you for joining us. See you again soon. Bye.